So let's give Katie all our attention and applause.
Right. On July 13th, 2011, the unimaginable. Something so life-changing that I haven't been able to talk about it publicly until now. On July 13th, 2011, a member of my family committed suicide. My mom. Suicide is a topic that is oftentimes considered taboo, or something that isn't talked about around the dinner table or in daily conversation. It's a topic that most people have opinions about, but no one really has anything to base these opinions off of until they are truly knowledgeable about it or have experienced it in some way personally. By analyzing the statistics, risk factors, warning signs, and aftermath, we can see how and why suicide is so common and why it needs to be discussed more openly and more often. We can also take action as a group to not only help prevent people from committing suicide in the future, but also help those who have suffered a loss from this tragic event. There are many risk factors and warning signs when it comes to suicide that many people tend to ignore. According to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, suicide risk is highest when someone shows signs of depression. And although this may seem obvious, sometimes it's not noticeable to everyone. Because if you're not familiar with what those signs would be, it's kind of easy to just brush it off. Other risk factors include substance abuse, schizophrenia, anxiety disorder, and a family history of attempted suicide or completed suicide. There are also many warning signs. According to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, 50 to 75% of all people who attempt suicide tell someone about their intention. It's most people who, not most people, but a lot of people who do it talk about wanting to kill themselves in conversation or say they wish they were dead, and that's something that people need to listen more. Like, these things might get overlooked because, like I said, like if you're not familiar with what somebody's going through, such as depression, it's hard to relate and it's hard to realize that that's what they would say. So, like Sarah said in her speech, when people say, I'm going to kill myself, it's taken so lightly. Like, there's a difference between so much homework, I have so much homework, I'm going to kill myself, or if you're arguing with someone and somebody screams, maybe I should just kill myself. That cannot be taken lightly. That's something that should be addressed. And another thing that's a warning sign is when people feel like they're a burden to others. Like, if somebody's like, I feel like I'm such a burden, like that's a little different than somebody's being like, actually saying like, I'm sorry, like I can't come, I don't want to be a burden to you. And another thing is when people feel trapped or need to escape. That's the biggest warning sign there is. There's also a lot of aftermath when it comes to suicide. Many people think that suicide, the person who committed suicide, that's the only person they think about in the situation. But there are also the family members and the friends who are all left behind, called suicide survivors. And there's a stigma that comes with being a suicide survivor. People think you have a lot of shame and guilt. And there's also, which a lot of people do, but that's not necessarily true all the time. And there's also a huge sense of rejection that comes with being a suicide survivor. Like in daily conversation, if people are talking about their parents and taking them somewhere or going on vacation, like, my mom's coming. Oh my God, I'm sorry, like I forgot you don't have a mom. Or, oh my God, like your best friend, I'm sorry, I can't. Like, people don't realize, and it's so hard to accept that people don't realize, but you have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and know that they don't realize what you're going through. And another thing is extreme grief, which leads to depression, which can lead to more suicides. According to Keith Houghton and Sue Simkin of the British Medical Journal in the article Helping People Bereaved by Suicide, for every suicide is claimed that on average 6 people suffer intense grief. That's 6 people that could commit suicide themselves. So as a way to take action, on June 1st and 2nd this year, I'm going to be doing an overnight walk in Washington, D.C. called the Out of the Darkness Walk. It's sponsored by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It has thousands of people who have suffered and experienced aspects of suicide firsthand, such as myself, coming together and walking 18 miles overnight, representing coming out on the other side of suicide. Each donor must raise $1,000. The net proceeds benefit the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, which funds research, advocacy, survivor support, education, awareness programs. It's an extremely, extremely important cause, and so that's why I'm doing it. But I know we're broke college students, so I'm not expecting any donations, but there is something else that's very helpful, and it's a program for support, and it's the new National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And I'm going to be handing out, here are resources. It has the donations page, a program for support with a lifeline, pass these around. And the easiest way to get involved and to help the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is, I know everybody shops on Amazon, And next time you go on Amazon, if you go to the website link that I posted there, it's so easy, guys. Just go through that link to purchase whatever you're buying, a book, a Kindle, whatever. 8.5 of your purchase will go towards the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention rather than going towards Amazon. And that's a lot of money. So, as you can see, according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, on average, an American dies every 13.7 minutes from suicide. It's important to reach out and listen to people you may think need your help and become active in spreading the word about the ways to help prevent this tragic event. Thank you. Sorry, I left you guys on like a last one with like a heavy topic.
But a really important topic that we can be of help with. Some feedback for Katie?
Sorry, I'm commenting on everything.
That's good.
I-
It's good to be doing that.
I loved that speech. I thought it was amazing. A good friend of mine committed suicide a few years ago, and I still probably would not be able to get up and talk about it like that. I think it's amazing that you did do that. I thought about doing a talk like that, but I wouldn't have known how to approach it in a persuasive way. But you did that well. I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Other comments for Katie? Yeah.
I like that you passed out like the sources and didn't just like write it on the board for us to like copy down. Like we actually like have it now with us. Like you were really really fast at the beginning. Like I was like waiting for you to take a breath. I was like really impressed. I'm like, is she ever gonna breathe?
I know, I said thank you.
Good. Any other comments?
Just think you have a lot of courage for talking about that because I know I've been through kind of stuff like that and it's hard for me to talk about, but I think that's awesome that you can talk about it and be so comfortable with it.
It helped a lot. Like I think giving a speech about it really like frees you from it a little bit in a way.
And that kind of courage makes room for people, because everybody's life is touched by this, but the conspiracy of silence about it is so profound that it really keeps people from talking about it. So when one person has this kind of courage, that makes it possible for other people too. So that's great. Anything else for Katie? Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was like a great topic because, yes, we don't really speak about it a lot, but most of us can still relate to it, at some point or another, like, whether it's because you've known someone, you've had the feelings, or you've seen the signs and chose to help or chose not to help. It's definitely a good thing to talk about.
And all of the points that you made were so well supported too with your research that makes a